Welcome to this week's episode of Listen to Your Coaches. I'm your coach, Mike Wilkins, here with Coach Will Morrill. Today we're going to do a breakdown of what happened yesterday, right? This was a big fight weekend. Today, film time, Sunday, June 30th, 9-ish a.m. Yesterday we had 4 of our fighters compete, and a lot of our friends competing as well. So we're going to run through this chronologically, I believe. So we're going to start with the 247 Brawl in the Berg 21.5. It was a noon start time card. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it allowed for like a more youthful audience to be in attendance, you know, not messing with their bedtimes and things like that. And it was also a mixed card.
Yes, it was, which is very fun for me because our first 2 fights were striking fights. They were Muay Thai fights.
It was very fun for me because I stood in the crowd and I was like, yo, this is pretty sick.
Dude, isn't that actually fun? Like when you get the chance to just chill in the crowd for a little bit?
Yeah, the one thing I wish I was standing. I wish I would have just went and sat down.
Yeah.
I was like, why not? Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
So, we'll just dive right in chronologically. First fight up. First
Joao
ever
Martinez.
Caged Muay Thai fight for 247 was Joao Martinez. And boy, did he look good.
He did look good, and he put a lot of pressure on himself for this fight. He told me that if he didn't win this fight, he was going to the Army. Here goes the thing. He was serious.
Dude, I believe you.
And after the fight, I was like, dude, because like I guess there's like maybe some decent career opportunities for him being a former Marine and stuff.
Right.
And I was like, maybe you still want to consider it. It seems like a good deal.
You can do both.
Yeah.
There's been a fair amount of dudes who, I mean, Tim Kennedy was like a high level military dude while still fighting. But
what he was saying to me was though he can't do both here. And and that's the one big pull. And that always makes me feel guilty. It's like, yo, and he's like, well, you know, I've trained at other places too. I just like really love it here. And I'm like, dude, that's super endearing and I love that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to be the reason that like your life gets pushed back.
It's like, we really like these kids, you know what I mean? And like, we want to train them, but like also we're like, I really want what's best for you too.
Yeah, I want what's best for you. And I don't want there to be a negative impact. And then like, you can roundabout like attribute it to me.
Well, let's focus only on some good things for the time being. Specifically, 3 rounds yesterday where Joao just like put it on his opponent. It just great decision making, great positioning, just like what we see from Joao like in practice all the time. Like, and again, like positioning and decision making. I think that's what makes his striking like really, really good. In fact, it was so good. The only thing that Josh and I told him between rounds is we're like, dude, just do more.
Dude, that's what I was saying from in between rounds from the outside. I was telling you to tell him to do more. Will, hey, tell him to do more.
Which is like a good thing when we're like, hey man, like just like do what you're doing and just do more of it. Yeah. I told him in between the second and third round, I was like, Joao, when you're done with this fight, if you're not completely exhausted, you didn't do enough. Like just do more. Like everything you're throwing is landing. It's fantastic.
Right. Yeah. He's gotten like hit like some good jumps in level, and I think it's because he loves fighting.
Dude, he loves it. He loves it. And you know what's really cool about Joe? He started what, 0-2, 3?
Oh, and well, are you counting?
But yeah,
the Muay Thai fight. Yeah, so he started 0-3 because he lost to Craig on that. It was like kind of it was a short notice.
Right. Yeah.
He jumped in and lost to Craig, which is like Craig Perry, which is like
Craig's a beast.
Dude, he's super good. So it's like, all right, dude, like honestly, doesn't count.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
And then he did that Muay Thai fight, right? Or was no?
I think it was the second fight.
When did
I
he
don't
fight?
remember.
No, he fought the Muay Thai fight.
Okay.
And where were you guys at? Allentown, or something? Out east. So he fought the Muay Thai fight, and then the very next week, he short noticed that fight for 247.
Right, yeah.
And his opponent's shoulder came out while warming up. That's what happened there.
And you know what's crazy? His Muay Thai fight, like, yeah, he lost. But the first round, he just, like, didn't get started fast enough. Not like he got beat up. He just, got outpointed that round. Second round, he, like, started to come back and it was closer. In the third round, he poured it on and, like, absolutely trashed that dude.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's, like getting shut out. You know what I mean?
Right. And then, then he fought in February against Ratani. And that was one in Murraysville, right?
That's right. And
where he had a good fight. It was a split decision.
I personally thought he won, but...
Right, yeah, but it was a good fight.
Good fight, exactly.
Good fight. Yeah, and now he's on the winning streak. And that was just February.
Right.
You know, this actually, I can't remember when he fought Craig. I don't remember when.
Me either.
But that was his first fight. And I think that was a bit ago because I think at the time Craig was 0-3.
Right.
Because Craig had that like like wild string of like terrible luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then since then, like he's just like, I don't know what Craig's record is, but I think he's like 4-3 now, or like something crazy.
He's killing it.
So but yeah, like, you know, like if we start from that Muay Thai fight, because that fight doesn't count. That first one doesn't count. It doesn't count. We start from that Muay Thai fight. That was just in October, right? And we're talking June right now. And, you know, so he's had 3 Muay Thai fights and 2 MMA fights. He's had 5 fights in the last 9 months.
Dude, all right. Both Craig and Joao, this is reminding me of a quote. You know Sylvie Von Douglas? You know who that is?
No.
She's this Western woman who's in Thailand.
Sylvie.
Yeah.
No, I don't know her.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, yeah, I do know. Well, she's like, she's the most accomplished Western fighter. Actually, maybe not most accomplished. She has the most fights. Let's put it that way. And she's got like,
you told me about
absurd
her.
amount. Yeah, she's like super small. She's always outsized, and like just super knowledgeable. She's fully fluent in Thai. She like does a lot of great work. Everyone should go and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She does a lot of really great work where she like, you know, trains with like Diesel Noy and Samat, like a lot of like the, you know, old masters of Muay Thai, and just like keeps their teachings alive and stuff. It's very cool. But anyways, she had this quote where she was talking about like when someone loses, and she was like, that's when you find out, do you like fighting or do you like winning?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yo, Joao loves fighting. You know what I mean? And on a long enough timeline with, you know, the baseline prerequisite athleticism and a good, you know, team and everything, like that's a winning combination.
Dude, I love that quote.
Isn't it, dude? Isn't that great?
I just had like some like inter-perspectives things go down right during that.
Dude, when I read that the first time too, the same thing happened. I was like, yo, that's crazy, because I did not take losing well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't take it well, but I definitely loved fighting more than I loved winning.
I definitely love fighting more than I loved winning.
Yeah. So, like, you know, like when I lost, I would, like, you know, pout for days.
Yep, me too.
I would also immediately retire in the back to, like, to you guys. Like, you guys, like, that's it. There's no point. Wasted everyone's time. Here we are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just wasted everyone's time. Yeah. But, like, you know, I did always enjoy the actual act of fighting. Even when the result, like, if I looked deep, even when the result was a loss. And I think maybe more so jiu-jitsu, because I'm at it at a more mature age. I definitely love jiu-jitsu more than I love winning. Because, like, I'll lose a match and not care.
Dude.
Just like, yo, I'm super glad that, like, I got to do that match. Like, I can still be upset with myself if I'm like, man, I should have done this better, or I didn't perform to, like, you know, my potential, or I hesitated in these, and I wish I, you know, would have performed to my potential. But, like,
it's not like that loss just like ruined your whole
life. Like, if I perform to my potential and I lose, like, I just, like, I'm like, hey, I mean, I shouldn't win.
And you know what's
like,
crazy?
Why do I think I deserve to beat someone who's better than me? Like,
when I was competing in jiu-jitsu,
I should get better than them and then deserve to beat them.
That's exactly how I felt. And it was like right when I had stopped boxing, right? And with boxing, like when I was, I don't know, I've had my first boxing match, I was like 18 or something. From like 18 to like 20, 21, I loved to fight. And I love beating people up. Like, I really liked it. And then that like slowly started to diminish. And by the time I was done boxing, I was like, yeah, dude, like, I'm not even sure. Like, I do love fight. I still have that little spark, but it's just not like that flame that you need to have, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to distinguish for people. And it tells you kind of where you are on your journey and like, you know, and how to handle losses. And just, I don't know, it's a good quote. Anyways, I don't want to get too hung up on it. Joao loves fighting.
We're still on Joao. And dude, we haven't even got to... Oh, no, we did talk about the fight. Never mind. I was like, we haven't even got to the fight yet, because I'm like recapping his career right now. And I'm like, yeah, and then he fought in February, then he fought in April. He won his MMA fight in April, and then he won his Muay Thai fight on Stout Fights, and now another one here.
And so, okay, to get back into what he did really, really well yesterday, he would throw some of those rear leg kicks, right, because it's an open stance fight.
Oh, I think I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Dude, the kid started like arm blocking and like pressuring in again, and dude, then he went kick to Superman punch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Crushing him with those.
I was like, dude, he loves going with that left kick to the left cross off it.
And like technically it looked really, really good and he timed it perfectly.
Bro, so we're in the crowd during that and like he's like going like throwing that left kick and then left cross and I'm like, man, he's really doing good at that. And I can't remember who I turned to, but one of the guys, like one of the fighters, like I turned to them and I'm like, yeah, he's just like, and like I was like trying to throw a left kick and like, and I was like, oh dude, I was like, that's super hard. How's he doing that?
Dude, okay, so that's what I was gonna comment on. Is like he made it look really smooth.
Yeah, that's like, the point.
Doing Superman punches, whether it's a Superman jab or Superman like rear hand or whatever, it's much more difficult than people think. Like to do it properly is kind of hard, and he was doing it well. Like most people will go too up and down on it, and a lot of people mess up the coordination of like when your foot hits the floor. And anytime your same side punch, kick, punch, it's really easy to mess it up. Like really easy. And I thought that looked really good. So yeah, just like very impressive fight.
Yeah,
very impressed with him.
Yeah, great fight.
We should move on, dude. Otherwise, we're gonna
we gotta start pumping it out. All right, next the
doctor.
The doctor, Jesse Sidhu, 5-0.
Yup.
Never been beaten,
dude.
Never been defeated.
So
potentially the worst athlete ever to go 5-0.
I don't believe that, Jesse. You're a killer,
dude. That's why he wears Velcro shoes. He can't even tie his own shoes. He's so unathletic. It's insane.
Oh. All right, so Jesse just fought 2 weeks ago, and then he was like, "Yo, I'm in shape. Let's run it back." And then, and then last week at the gym barbecue, he said, "Party a little bit," you know.
Dude, Jesse fought Sunday, June 16th at GFC in a caged Muay Thai fight, and then he fought Saturday, June 29th. So June 16th to June 29th, right? But then he almost got in another fight Saturday, June 22nd, when he was blackout drunk, and I was like, "You're fighting, and you're fight like, and it's the noon card," and I'm like, "Dude, you're literally less than a week from a fight. You're less than 6 days from a weigh-in," and he's like, "It's okay, and I'm, oh, dude, I was like gonna beat him up. He's like, Mike, let's talk about this. And he's like trying to pull me to the side. He's like, come on. He was like, holy crap. He was like, Mike's like really, and I hit him with a sick foot sweep, put him right on his ass. Ask Rico. Rico was like, whoa.
Dude, I'm glad I wasn't there for this.
Yeah, he was like, come on. Because he was like, realized, he was like, holy crap, like, I'm not, like, I was mad. He was like, you're not joking mad. You're mad.
Dude, okay, hold on. There's multiple things to say about this. First of all, the funniest part was you called me, like, immediately. And you were like, yo, Jesse told me not to tell you. Here we are. And two, I, like, wasn't that concerned.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't be that concerned.
But here's the thing. There's other fighters where I would be concerned. With Jesse specifically, I wasn't that concerned, right? I got a couple reasons. One, I saw Jesse in Thailand. We went out drinking, right? We weren't going nuts, but we went out drinking. And the next morning, he went up and did he woke up and did like the 6 a.m. runs with the Thais. And like the Thai coach was like, yeah, 6 a.m. And I was like, not me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm here to just like crack some pads and like, show the dudes like what this is all about. I'm not running. Jesse got up and just boom, crushed it, right? So like I know he's got that in him.
Yeah.
And also part of what makes Jesse awesome. So okay, Jesse's, I want to say it was like his third fight or something. He fought this kid who was like 3-1, WKA champ, something like that. And he was good. And I was like, oh man, like if I was in Jesse's position, like I would be like a little like, oh man, like I'd be a little shook. And he went out and dominated this dude. And afterwards he told me, he was like, yeah, I didn't care that he was like a, like a little like, novice rules champ or something. Like, what's that for? And I was like, dude, Jesse, like,
yeah, dude,
he just
awesome.
Has the right mindset.
He really is awesome.
And dude, he's like so confident and like, bro, I'm just...
and it's earned confidence.
Exactly. I mean,
it's
dude,
earned confidence.
Exactly.
It's not like, like some people are confident, which is still good.
Yeah.
But it's like, like you're building yourself ahead of what you are, and then you become that, right? Like a fake it till you make it type thing. Jesse's is earned confidence.
Exactly. And like, I don't know, dude, I feel like the way he approached, and part of it is an advantage to starting like fighting later in life. You just have like a little different perspective.
Yeah.
And like he just like is so good at like having that perspective, not being shook by like he's fighting this 20-year-old kid who looks athletic. He's fast. He beats him the first
100%
round.
of the people that Jesse has fought look like they should beat the shit out of Jesse. All of them. Like, Jesse's about to get his ass whooped, and then he just whoops their ass, and you're like, man, this is crazy.
This is what like martial arts is about. You know what I mean? It's like being more skilled, right? Being just like having the technique, having the confidence, and then just going out and getting it done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh,
And,
Jesse's hilarious.
okay, let's talk about the fight yesterday, right? We can ignore the prep.
No, let's not talk about the fight yet. Let's keep talking about it. So Jesse's like, oh, don't. I'm like, I'm gonna call Will right now. He's like, oh no, Mike, you can't call Coach Will. And I love that. Like, he doesn't say don't call Will. He's like, Coach Will, right? Like, and I'm like, dude, that's so sick. I'm like, you're blackout, and you're still like, oh, Coach Will. And I'm like, I'm calling him. And I was like, you think I'm not gonna tell him? He's like, no, please, you can't tell him. You can't tell him. And I'm like, dude, first off, why do you even care? The wrong one already knows.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, and I was offended. I was like, bro, I already know. I'm the one you're worried about finding out.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, no, Jesse did a great job. It reminds me of, so like, you know, used to do a little bit of drinking back in my my heyday.
I wasn't a great influence on it either. I was young.
Yeah, we might have been a little drinking. I remember one time, Warren and I were training in New York. We were training at Henzo's, and you know, we're out having a few drinks or whatever. You know, maybe partying a little bit. And there was 6 a.m. There was a 6 a.m. practice the next morning, right? And one of the things that like Warren was saying, he was like, if we do this, if we're gonna like drink basically all night and like have fun or whatever, we have to practice. Like you earn the right, you earn for it to be okay for you to drink by not letting it impact you. Like if you're out drinking all night and then I missed practice, I was out drinking all night, unacceptable. You cannot do that again, right? But if you're out drinking all night, you show up, you practice hard, you do good, you get better, right? You're allowed to go out drinking again. You know what I mean? It's like you earn that. And like, dude, I lived that for a while. And then I found out like that's also terrible.
Yeah. I was about to say like it's not
also terrible. Which is why, and like people were like, hey, like I'm like coming down on Jesse, and like, you know, I've told this story to like a bunch of the guys.
And also I was gonna say Jesse's a little different situation. I will not accept this from a lot of our
Well, that's what I'm getting to too. Okay. It's like towards that. Yeah, Jesse is different situation. But like they're like, hey, I heard the story that you got your nickname because you used to like drink up until like 3 days before the fight. And I was like, yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's why we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, because learned.
That was so dumb.
Yeah.
That was so dumb. Yep. And like I tried to tell him, like, dude, that was kind of a crutch. It was like, you know, like if things didn't go bad, I had like a backup excuse.
It was like what John Jones said. He was like, oh, if I lose, at least I can just be like, oh, I was partying last week.
Right, yeah. And I was like, that's a crutch and that was a weakness, you know? And your goal as a fighter and my goal as a coach you should be stepping on me.
Yep.
You know what I mean, right? You don't need to go through all the hard shit I did. I did that, right? And the way that I find value in my career is that I did that, you know? And that, like, and if you just redo that, then I don't find value, right? Like how I sleep at night for not like achieving like what I was trying to get is that it helped you start the race further down the road.
Yep.
So don't take that from me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
don't take that from me. That's like it's gonna hurt me.
Yeah,
you know.
And also like I think I remember like you like being like, oh dude, Cowboy does it, whatever. And like I think like you and Cowboy both like achieved like really good things, despite that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure. It would have been better if we didn't.
And also, okay, and I don't want to. I just remembered like a really good quote, and so I don't want this to encourage what we just told everyone not to do. But I had a similar situation. My boy Jay, shout out Jay. He was in grad school when I was an undergrad, right? And he helped coach, and he like took a boxing fight when he was there and stuff. But he was like also like very serious academically. Like he finished his PhD program faster than anyone who finished that particular program before. Like very smart, accomplished dude and everything. And we'd be out drinking and whatever, having a little fun, being college kids. And every morning he would be up at 6 a.m. go to this one coffee shop in Penn State and just get to work. And I remember being like, dude, it's like 2:30 in the morning, just like relax a little bit, just like sleep in. And he looked at me very seriously. And I've looked up this quote to see if like he got it from somewhere. And he hasn't. I think he just made it up. He goes, Will, if you're gonna wallow with the pigs, you have to rise with the eagles. And I
Yo,
was
that's
like, dude,
hard.
that's so hard. And dude, that was in my head for so long. And I was like, dude, that's so sick. And I told him like years later, I was probably like 28 or something.
And he was like, oh, I don't remember saying
yeah,
that.
he was like, yeah, no, I don't remember saying that. I was like, yo.
I was, dude, we should hit Jay up later and be like, is that like sick? Right? Like, 'cause I love it. Like, it's like, you know, one of those things that like just brings me joy is when people are like, yeah, when you said this, I'm like,
Well, speaking of drinking,
don't remember saying that.
medium.
Yeah, medium. Oh yeah, yeah. So I allegedly coined a term medium that Will and his friend group used for a while. And it's
Still
like
do.
it's when like, you know, it's like, oh, it's like, hey, did you go out drinking last night? But you didn't get like blackout, but it wasn't just a few drinks, right? It was medium in between. So back in the early days, Will broke his shit and couldn't get to the. So I would pick him up. I'd pick him up at his apartment, and I would drive us to the gym for him to coach me in practice, and then I would drive him home. And he would always be like, "Oh, how you feeling?" Da-da, and all that stuff. You know, normal things like that. And I was like, "Oh, I was drinking last night," and he goes, "Oh yeah, like how hard you?" I was like, "Medium," and like. There was not a reaction to it. It wasn't like, yo, dude, that's funny. Medium? Is that like something you say? Like nothing like that. And months later,
Dude, we've been saying it all the time.
yeah, months later, like, because we weren't like hanging out that much, like outside of the gym at that point in time, you know? Like I hadn't like integrated into your group. Now I would like integrate.
Right.
I'm part of your
Also,
group.
you were like much more of an adult than I was at that point.
Right,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
You
Like,
were fresh out.
Yeah.
You were fresh out of school. And
Yeah.
I was like, you know.
an adult.
Yeah, I was an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I found out that you guys were just saying medium a bunch because I said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so sick.
Yeah, you trying to get
loved it.
medium?
It made me feel so good.
Oh, dude, yeah,
I was
it's
like,
awesome.
I was like, dude, they think I'm cool. All right, cool.
All right, so we've got
Are we
two
still talking
fights
about
in.
Jesse?
Dude,
Are
let's
we
wrap
done?
up Jesse. Let's wrap up
Jesse won. He wins a lot. He looks terrible.
Jesse, you're the man. Congrats on being 5-0.
Yeah, you are the man, Jesse. Good job. All right, we're done with you, though.
Okay, let's talk about Lucas.
Yes, let's talk about Lucas.
All right, so Lucas had his
It's
second pro
hot
fight
in here.
Dude, it's so
It's
hot.
so hot.
Okay, how about this? After the Lucas fight, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break and bang this AC.
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
so Lucas had his second pro fight,
Yes.
and getting to the fight was a bit of a like problem. I don't want to get super specific on a couple things, but there were injury issues.
Yeah,
There were opponent issues. It was
Yeah.
hard to find an opponent.
it was.
That's partly one of the things that contributed to us going up to
145.
Yeah, man, he beat this kid up.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. I think the other kid deserves some credit as well.
Dude, okay, yes, that kid is, one, very skilled at jiu-jitsu. Two, I can just tell he's really strong.
Dude, that kid, like, I hope so he takes this and, like, now can get some easier fights.
Yes.
Because, like, if he can get some, like, he would beat a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
he was good.
Dude, okay.
Nathan Grubham?
Yes. So,
Okay.
one, again, I think really good jiu-jitsu skills. Two, I think he's, like, really strong. Like, really
I
strong.
mean, you looked at
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't feel him, but, like, that's the feeling I get. Oh, man, I had a third point.
Dude, I don't know, dude. He looked like he hit pretty hard. Like,
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
the sounds of the punch. I was like, Lucas, please stop this.
He was unbelievably tough, too.
Yeah.
ate
Oh,
some
he was
head
super
kicks.
tough.
He didn't seem fazed by that elbow at all. Also, I spoke no words to him, but I just feel like he's a nice guy, too.
Yeah, I didn't speak to him either,
Yeah.
but, like, he just
You
gave
get
me
that
nice
feel,
guy
right?
vibes. Yeah.
So, wish him the best. And also,
I hope he goes on a win streak.
me too. And I think you're right. I hope that
I think he will.
get some like easier fights because of that.
Yeah, his record has gone down now, so like kind of like maybe like catch
Right.
another person like with a similar record and start to jump.
The other thing that's really good about him being the opponent for Lucas is he was able to push Lucas for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And expose some things that you and I want to work on now.
Yeah.
And how great is it to have that experience while still getting a W? you
Yeah,
know?
it's like such a like yeah, like you want to go in there and have like a spectacular finish. Like everybody wants to. But he's got 15 minutes of fight experience in that fight. I remember when I had my first 15-minute fight and I was just a different person from then on. It was a completely different person, and especially in the way that Lucas had this happen, I had it happen very similar. Where like, so I would just get finishes like quick, right?
Yeah.
And I honestly think
What was your first 15-minute fight? Was it
it was my 7th pro fight.
was it
Rob Hanna.
Hanna, that's it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I think though I was getting finishes out of panic.
Yeah.
I honestly do. I think like fear of like, because I feel myself getting tired. I was like, if I don't finish this, I'm gonna lose.
Yeah.
Because if he gets out of this, I've got nothing left, and they're gonna beat me up. And I had it happen once. Like I poured on a 10-8 round, and I did not get the finish, and I think I lit that like I've got nothing left.
Right.
Lose me. I lost the fight. It was my first pro loss, and then I let it lose me the fight. Right. And Lucas, after the fight, he was like, dude, I was gassed in the first, right? And like, you would never know from the pace he put on in the second and the third. That boy put a pace, and it was all action the whole time. That was a high-paced fight.
Yep.
So you leave that 15-minute fight, right? And that was a high-paced fight, so you know, like, you're like, oh, dude, I've got real cardio, you know? And what is real cardio? Like, real cardio is the ability to fight for 15 minutes, but it's also like the knowledge that you can do it, and it's not getting tired.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the biggest misconception. It's like,
performing.
it's like, I'm not going to get tired. No. You're going to get tired.
100%.
And if you don't get tired, then you're not fighting. You're not fighting to your like optimal level or your efficient level. It's the ability to keep that level while being tired.
Exactly. To be effective while in that tired state.
So he's got that. Check that box. He won fairly dominantly, right? He was in some good positions. He did some good things, a lot of good things, a lot of good positions in both striking and the grappling. And there were things that like are. It's not like I have to like look at this tape and like, okay, what's going on? Like I know, I know, like dude, like hey, we can go spend the next 2 months fixing these things, and you're a better fighter than you were that day.
Exactly.
Right. And things like that with the dub.
Yes.
You know? And like normally it's like, okay, the loss, you know, like you learn from your losses. You know what's sick is learning from your wins.
Yeah, dude.
That's sick, dude. That's having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly. And not only were the things where we're like, oh, we're going to fix this. There was also a highlight in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was a great fight. Yeah,
A lot of highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really happy to see him.
There were highlights in both striking and grappling.
Yeah, dude.
Too.
Yeah, and he blended him nicely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it was a complete fight.
Yeah, it really was.
That's what it was. It was a complete fight. Yeah.
And I was really happy because, like, he didn't get the chance to showcase as many elbows in the first fight as I would have liked. I was glad to see as many elbows as we did.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of elbows.
Right. He was kind of critical of them immediately after the fight. He was like, I got to work on my hand trap elbows, da-da-da. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, you got to work on everything. But I'm like, that's the progression. And you think you're just going to come in here and it's just going to be like wop, 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 wop.
There's something very...
Like you're hitting pads on this dude's
head. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's not going to go like that.
And also, I thought his elbows were really good. There's one very specific thing that I'm not going to say, you know, on camera, but like that will make his elbow game like significantly better. And it's a very easy fix.
Yeah, so that's the things too, is like the things on my end that they're fairly easy fixes as well. And it's just
I shouldn't say easy, I should say simple.
Good call.
Yeah,
simple as well. And it's just like, you know, it's just like stuff we haven't, some stuff that I'm going to work on with him is like revisiting, just like, hey, you know better than that. Right. Yep. And then the other things are like, hey, you just haven't gotten to this point yet. Right. Like if I'm charged as being your jiu-jitsu coach and I'm supposed to teach you jiu-jitsu, right? I've had you for not even 2 years. Do you think I've taught you all of the jiu-jitsu?
That's what I was
gonna say. No, dude. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, like we can do this. Like, right here, I'll give it away. Top half. All right. If your opponent is able to stay on their side, they're able to defend themselves better because they're more mobile, right? They're not pinned, all right? And they're able to work their like offensive attacks, such as going under for leg locks, coming up for wrestle ups,
sweeps,
sweeps, you know, all that stuff. If we can pin them flat, all that becomes harder. Not impossible, but harder, right? Because what is a pin? So taking away their mobility, right? So we can pin them by circling into the half guard.
Right.
If I circle towards the legs, towards the side you're on,
you pop them up.
The hips become flat, right? And if I over circle that, I can start to get your knees to point the other way, right? And what do you need to do? You need to have it completely the opposite. You need your knees pointing towards me. So it's just like, yeah, like we just haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've been working. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu to learn.
That's what I was gonna say. It's just like we've had him for what, 2 years? Like we just haven't had time to teach him everything. You know what I mean? And especially
we haven't even had him for 2 years.
Yeah, less than 2 years. And dude, MMA is
in July 2 years ago. So it's not even July yet. In July 2 years ago, he made his amateur debut at 247, but he wasn't with us.
right.
He came September-ish, right? I met him at that fight in July. Taylor Charlo introduced us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he'd come in for like a Saturday or something maybe before that, but yeah.
Oh, well, he had been at the gym. Ethan
Right.
Hayes brought him up back when he was just like a college kid.
Oh really?
Yeah. Brought him to like a Saturday sparring or whatever. Dude, it's a pretty funny. So I might mess this story up a little bit because I was not involved in the story. But Lucas was brought up by Ethan Hayes to a Saturday sparring. He was probably wearing some wrestling gear, and I guess he was getting his ass whooped. And I guess Vince walks up to him and goes, "Hey, who are you?" Like not nice. Like not nice. Yeah. I'm sure Vince like wasn't being mean,
right.
But like, you know, he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm this dude. Ethan brought me." And he goes, "You wrestle?" And Lucas was like, "Yeah, West Virginia." And he was like, "You should wrestle here too." Like, well, or like something like, "Well, why don't you try wrestling?" Yeah. dude, it's so hilarious. Funny. I'm so happy like that's like this first like interaction with Vince in like our gym basically, because now like he basically works for Vince now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, now that dude's your boss.
Dude, that's so funny. Yeah. Oh man, I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just haven't had time to teach Lucas everything, you know. Oh man, I feel like
you know, I love those stories. I was talking with Luke Martin yesterday, and we'll get into like why I was talking with Luke Martin, because we're gonna talk about how cool that trip was. But Luke Martin was also like stories about just getting his ass whooped. And I'm like, yo, that's so funny. Like I love. He was like, that's when I knew I wanted to train here. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, that would like make me want to leave.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, that just shows like, you know, these kids have the right attitude. Awesome. You know, they like know how to grow. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, where are we at?
We're talking about Lucas's fight. I had some like point,
really
but
good.
that story was hilarious.
He did really good.
And I forgot everything else.
I don't know what we were talking about.
We were talking about his development.
Elbows. Oh, I was pinning flat. Oh yeah, we just didn't have time to get there yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then we started talking about chronologically, like how long he's even been here.
Right.
So he hasn't even been here for 2 years. And dude, that's kind of crazy if you really think about it, because like, no, we didn't get him from scratch. So
of course not.
That's the difference. But like if I get someone from scratch, like scratch, like
right.
no athletic, never wrestled,
combat sports,
right? Like, if you're on regular pace, I would say you're probably like making your amateur. I was gonna say making your debut.
Yeah.
You know, because like, you know what I mean. You gotta learn everything.
Right. Oh, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Okay, so we haven't had a lot of time with him, and he's competing in the most complex combat sport there is. Right.
Oh yeah.
Because
we
people
should
look
talk
at it,
about that.
they're like, oh, okay, so like if you're gonna be an MMA fighter, you have to know boxing, you have to know some sort of, you know, Muay Thai, kickboxing, something like that. You need to be able to wrestle, and you need to have jiu-jitsu or, you know, some sort of ground grappling, right? And we can kind of like roughly divide it up in those 3 to 4 like categories, right? But it's not that simple. It's not just you have to learn this and this and this and this. You have to learn the transitions between them.
Yeah, and so, how they work together.
Exactly. There's just like, I don't know if I'm gonna say an exponential amount, but it's more than the sum of its parts. Like,
yes,
MMA is very complex.
It's very complex, and you're splitting your time. I mean, you only have so much time to practice, no matter how dedicated you are.
Yep.
There's only so many slots for practices in a day.
Exactly.
And I would say that, and like about like jiu-jitsu growth, right? It's like, all right, like if I'm full-time jiu-jitsu, then let's say these guys are probably getting like 11 practices a week. All right. So just to like, and they come in a different order, but just to make it simple for like audience to digest, just imagine Monday through Friday, 2 a days, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and then 1 practice on Saturday, rest on Sunday, right? So you're getting 11 practices a week. If you are a full-time jiu-jitsu athlete, you have just practiced jiu-jitsu 11 times.
Yep.
Right? If you're an MMA fighter, you have just practiced jiu-jitsu 3 times. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause, I practiced boxing 3 times, right? I practiced Thai boxing twice, you know? Then I had jiu-jitsu 3 times, and then I kept my wrestling sharp, and then, we also did MMA, like combining it all, MMA stuff, like, you know what I mean? So you're not getting as much of that individual discipline work. Yeah.
And if you think about how long it takes to develop a certain technique, like if some jiu-jitsu kids like, Mike, how long is it going to take for me to, I don't know, hit a flower sweep for real? And you'll be like, maybe
years.
after like, a couple months, you'll start to figure it out, blah, blah, whatever. And you'll hit dudes who, are your level with it. So, okay, couple months. Well, let's say that our MMA guys are getting a fourth of the training in that discipline. Okay, now it's going to take you a year. You know what I mean?
Now, here goes the thing for our fighters who, I assume, watch this show. Like, why wouldn't you watch shows that the most important people in your life are on? But I expect you to excel at a faster rate.
Yeah, we do.
Than your regular jag. You know what I mean? You should be excelling at a faster rate. So, yeah. And you're not. You're disappointing. You're disappointing me.
Show up to fundamentals.
Right now. Yeah.
All right, so anything else to wrap up with Lucas? Great fight. I was really happy with it.
Great stuff to take away from it.
Yep.
Dominant. Kid's now 2-0, is a pro, 24 years old, tons of
Can we talk about his attitude and just mental game real quick?
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to say what he said, but, so I was talking about this last night before Hound Dog's fight. I was like telling like Luke, Martin, and Brittany, and I was like, dude, Lucas is so mentally strong. He's so mentally strong. So, I don't even know if like you recall this. So we go into the corner in between the first and second round, and Lucas starts off by saying 2 negative things.
Yep.
I'm not going to say what they were,
Yep.
but he says 2 negative things. And I go, what do I say?
You
I
said no negative thoughts, only positive.
Okay, yeah. I was like, boom, done. And he was just, boom. It was like the negative thoughts were there, and then they just floated outside of the cage. Dude, and I was like, all right, that's tough to do.
Yeah.
That's tough to do. Like, I didn't even have to work him. I didn't have to work him at all. I just said, like, I gave him my introduction, and it was a full sell.
Yeah.
It was a full sell.
Yeah. Dude. And not only did he just like not bring it up, he like embodied it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
full embrace. Fully, like, dude, like, fully listening to your coaches.
Yep.
Right? Dude, you should just listen to your coaches, like everybody, right? You just listen to your coaches. Listen, they're your coach because probably they know more than you. They've had more experience and they've been around. Are they going to be right 100% of the time? Certainly not. Are they going to be right more than you? Likely.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just listen to them. And then, like, also, like, if it doesn't work out, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's their fault.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. So, yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, and he's so mentally strong and like leading. Okay, so when we're getting warm, Polens was in the back, and he was like, "Yo, dude, like I've like never seen him look this good. He's so sharp. He's flowing. He's just like timing is on point." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like." There's people, so like me, for example, when I was boxing, I could get up to whatever level in the practice room, and I'm going to be 75% of that in fights, and I just need to keep trying to up that level and up that level.
Yeah.
Dude, for him, in fights, he's
an under the lights kind of guy.
He really has it. Like mentally, he is just on point. And I would love to be like, oh, I told him to do this and this. No, that is him. That is him.
Yeah. Definitely. So before we take this break, which you guys won't notice too much, because dude, this room is crazy hot.
Stupid hot.
I want to finish up with like some Lucas stuff, right? So we're in the corner, right? And the table closest to the corner is his family. So Lucas's dad is sitting behind me. Right. Like we're like able to like bump each other with elbows and stuff, right? And third or second round, Lucas is in top turtle, and I'm like, hey, like, cause like he's a listener.
Oh yeah, he was talking to us.
Yeah, so we're talking, and I'm like, hey, like these, like you're in top turtle, you get a cross wrest, whatever, right? They're base now. They need their arms for their base. These uppercuts, underneath the armpits, which we talked about.
Yep.
On the
James.
The was that just last week's? No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, it was last week. Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
You guys heard it. Like they're more effective than you think, right? And he gives me this face, and he throws 2 of them, and I'm like, well, I mean, you have to try. Like he threw, like they were just like,
dude, he did it to like to be funny. He went,
yeah, right? No, I know. But, like, that's the whole point of the
Right.
joke. So I turned to his dad, and I was like, he's kind of a sarcastic prick, isn't he? And his dad's like, oh, yeah.
dude, oh, that's awesome. Yo, actually, all right, because we've been kind of talking to our fighters about, like, watching certain fights and stuff.
Yeah.
You want to see those punches at work? Dan Henderson, Fedor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
And I believe Fedor did the same thing to someone else, Bader.
I'm sure.
Or, I don't know. Whatever. Watch Dan Hendo Fedor, and then you'll know exactly the kind of uppercuts we're talking about from that, like, turtle position. But yeah, dude. All right, hold on. One last thing we should bring up with Lucas. At one point, and dude, also, like, great job of, like, bringing his opponent to the ground right in front of us. I think it was in the second round.
Yeah, dude, he fought, like, the entire fight on a large portion of the fight on our half.
Yep. Yeah. And at one point, he's in top position, and he looks at us, and he starts mouthing something to us. And we're like, bro, we don't know what you're saying. Like, do you remember that? It was I'm pretty sure it was in the second round. He's, like, right in front of us, and he starts mouthing something to us. And I don't know if he was, like, asking if he should go for something or whatever. And I just looked at him and was like, bro, I don't know, man. Like,
what?
You gotta speak up.
He probably was saying something that he didn't want his opponent to hear.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he was mouthing it to us, but he forgot that his mouth is stupid. He's got that stupid face that you just want to punch.
Those opinions are not reflected by both your coaches, Lucas. Oh, man. So, yeah, overall, great fight. Congrats, Lucas. 2-0. Well earned. Very impressive.
Yeah, dude. It's fun. It's fun stuff.
This is really fun, man. This is really fun. I remember you and I were at the Borgata. You were having, like, you know, not a hard weight cut, but, you know, you're cutting weight. And I remember sitting there, and I forget if I said it out loud to you at this point. I've said it to you a million times, but I was like, dude, these kind of trips are gonna be really fun when we're both coaches.
Dude, you did say. I remember you saying that multiple times. You're like, yeah, just wait, just one day that it's just gonna be us coaching instead.
Yeah, man, and, like, dude, it's
working out.
This is it, man. It's really fun. So
that's a wrap on Brawl in the Berg 21.5 for the Stout PGH Fighters Perspective. Do we know what episode was the last episode? Was it 32 or 33?
I want to say 32.
Okay, well, this is a wrap on LTYC episode 32.5. No, we'll be back in a second. You guys won't even notice, and we're back. And depending on Will's editing skills, it might be like we've never left. All right, so Brawl in the Berg 21.5, put a bow on it. Let's move to Brawl in the Berg 22. Actually, let me take one step back because something happened in between there. We had to drive to West. Well, I took Andy and Britt with me down to West Virginia. Luke Martin drove the dog down. Down to West Virginia. Anthony making his pro debut, New Line Cage Fights. Down in Bridgeport, West Virginia, I think it was. We'll get into that. We got a lot of good stuff on that, but I'm like a creature of habit. I like to move chronologically. All right, so we're gonna jump into Brawl in the Berg 22 because we just sat backstage in West Virginia for like 8 hours.
So that's cool. You guys got to see the fights. I was there. I had the honor of being a Broncos corner. And that's, I think, the fight we should start with.
Yes. So actually, it's good because I was only able to catch 2 of the Brawl in the Berg 22 fights. I had the pay-per-view. I got that whole year thing where I get everything free for a year. So I was able to catch Broncos fight and I caught Patton's fight. So those are the 2 fights that I'm going to be able to have insight on.
So, I got to corner Bronco, which was awesome. And I was cornering him with Dalton, and that works out pretty easily because, Dalton and I have spent a lot of time, Dalton Rasta, we spent a lot of time discussing fighting, and, we think fighting very similarly. So, we're all on the same page with game plan wise. We're saying, one unified message from the corner.
Yeah.
So, the warm-up went well, the cornering went well. So, first off, we got to discuss this. Bronco is an 85er, 205er, right? Yeah. And really an 85er, right? Dude, he goes to heavyweight and he fights a real heavyweight. This dude was taller than me.
Dude, had to be at least 6'6". Looked like he
maybe not 6'6", but he's a
taller
big
than you.
boy.
How tall are you? 6'4"?
No, I'm 6'3" on a good day. Maybe after the surgery, 6'3".
Oh, okay. See, I just assumed you were taller then.
But the big thing is this guy was big. He's like probably 260, like naturally.
Yeah.
He's just like he's an actual heavyweight.
Dude,
right?
he looked to me like someone who has to like make heavyweight. So
He might.
heavyweight, the weight limit is 265. Well, 266 with the Grace pound. There's dudes who gotta like, you know, they're like 270 something. They gotta
cut.
get down to it, and he strikes me as one of those.
He might have been, and that's the other thing is there's some heavyweights that are like, oh, they're like 225 and they just don't feel like cutting or whatever. But like not this dude. He's like a real heavyweight. And Bronco went and fought this dude anyways. You know what I mean? As a 85er. You know what I mean? Like that's so incredible and like so inspiring to me because like Bronco, first off, dude, Bronco's just like the nicest guy. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody meets Bronco and doesn't like Bronco. Like he's just so nice, such a cool dude, family man. Like you can't not like the guy. And then for him to be, first off, dude, he made it all the way to, you know, being like a many fight pro. You know what I mean? Dude, he's the same age as me. I stopped fighting like 8 years ago. Right. I got neck surgery. I feel old, you know? And here he is just like getting after. And after.
Taking fights weight classes above.
Yeah, dude. And like, bro, that was very inspiring for me. Just like to see him do that. And then he goes out first round, does real well. Probably spent a little too much time in like clinch positions where he had to, you know, carry that dude's weight. But striking wise, looked really good in and out. Cracked the dude and hurt him in the first round. Just like it was a good first round. Second round, a bunch more of the same. And
had that big lift.
Dude. He gets the body lock, swings to the back.
Boom.
And I remember in that moment, like I think I like tapped out and I was like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea. And it was a good idea, dude. Big lift, big drop, and then he goes to jump on his back. Unfortunately, slid off.
A little too high, yeah.
Yeah, ended up in the bottom position. And, you know, his opponent did a great job of, like, positioning himself away, smushing him into the cage, and just, like, not giving him any room to breathe and really making him carry that heavyweight weight. And, you know, there's weight classes for a reason. He just wasn't really able to get out of that position. Now, luckily, he didn't get hurt. He did get stopped in the second, but it was just little, you know, pitter-patter punches, and it was just due to like inactivity and inability to get up from that position. So luckily he didn't get hurt. You know, man, the more I see Bronco and the more I'm around Bronco, the more like talented I really think he is.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm just like, man, dude, I really wish, you know, I hope that we can get Bronco in our gym a little bit more often.
Yeah, I would love to like work with Bronco on like, you know, a more consistent. I've only ever had him in one practice. You know, for me. But like I would love to have more work with him. My first Bronco experience was also a heavyweight fight. I'm pretty sure it was Bronco's pro debut. It was in Bellator. He fought Terrell Fortune, who was like on the Olympic ladder for freestyle wrestling at heavyweight, right? Like one of those dudes they bring in on those developmental deals, right? So it was a big deal. And like so Bronco in that fight, like I was like, well, he's a heavyweight, like you know what I mean? So like looks like a 205 to me, and he was, you know, a sizable underdog as well. And dude, he fought him to a split decision that I kind of feel like was Bronco's.
I remember you telling me in the past, you're like, yeah, dude, I think he kind of got robbed there. Like,
that was my first Bronco fight, right? Like I had met him in passing, but I didn't really know him. But I was sitting with Dempsey during that fight. Because we were there.
Right.
So I was sitting with Dempsey during that fight, and Dempsey, you know, is boys with him, so he's invested in stuff. And so, like, it sucked me in. So now I'm invested and stuff like that. And he had a great fight. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, this dude is good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm glad you said that, too, because, like, Bronco's such an easy dude to get invested in, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the man. You know? Yeah. He's just so nice and such a cool dude. So, like, yeah, man, he's better than a lot of people probably, like, know. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, you know, Bronco, I know he's discussed, you know, maybe not fighting anymore and, you know, after this one, who knows, but like, man, if he wants to keep fighting, he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he really 100%. Can. Like, very, very good athlete. So, you know, Bronco, dude, great fight. I'm personally inspired by it. Very impressed with your performance and just impressed with you. So, man, hats off to Bronco.
Let's go. All right, so you want to move on to Moose?
Dude.
The old Penn State boxing connection. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Moose and I are like, you know, loosely connected, right? We both fought on the same team, different times, right? We, you know, never crossed over. I was gone for at least a year, maybe two, by the time he came up. And but we did have the same coach, right? Coach Ose was there, which, by the way, Ose was at the fights last night, which was tremendous. I got to catch up with him a little bit, and I got to sit with him during Moose's fight. So I'm with him. I'm with the current Penn State boxing coach. I'm with a bunch of like other collegiate boxers, and like the ATT guys are all like around there. And it was just really cool to see that performance with his crowd, because like I root for him obviously, but like being with the crowd, it's like you said, you get even more invested. I'm like, dude, this is so sick. So he came out, dude. It was just like, bro, that amateur boxing style, good footwork, in, out, side to side, big volume punches when he did want to start punching.
Love that, dude. I love to see that.
Yeah, it was stylistically really, really cool.
Like when I say I love to see that, like I love to see it. Like I like watching that style of fight.
Right, yeah,
You know
it's
what I
so
mean?
much fun. And he just dominated him with the hands, just pieced him up. I think he ate like 2 low kicks, you know what I mean? Like just not getting touched. And then he even hit a takedown, like laced the leg, boom, hit a takedown. But what was really cool was on the other side of the cage, they're, in some sort of like clinch exchange, he slaps on an arming guillotine, jumps it.
Gets the finish?
Finishes it, dude. Like, how cool is that?
Jumping the gilly.
Yeah, dude. Like,
yeah.
Super, super sick. And I remember in the moment, like,
national champ boxer jumping the gilly.
Yeah, dude. And like in the moment, I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure."
Does he hang out with Dustin Poirier?
He must. He's getting that good advice.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, worked out perfectly for him. Got the finish. Dude, just tremendous. And it's like so cool to see like guys coming from the same system that I came out of, doing well, and just like, and again, just being part of that environment was awesome.
Right,
and
dude.
So, very happy with Moose's fight. Should we talk about Patton next?
Yeah, so Patton was the next fight I saw because, as I said, I was in West Virginia with Anth, and like, we're having to do things backstage, like wrapping hands, like warm-ups, things of that. So the only fights I was able to catch, I made it a priority to catch Bronco's fight, right? Because like,
he's our guy.
I know, you were cornering him, he comes through and stuff. So like, I really wanted to see that. And luckily it aligned timing-wise with downtime for us.
Yeah.
And then we had like a moment of downtime during Patton's fight where like I literally like put the pay-per-view back on, boom, he's walking in. I'm like, all right, sick.
Perfect.
It was like right before we had to start warming Anthony up. So unfortunately missed Kama's fight. But yeah, I just thought like he looked great, dude. He's like super complete. He said as much in his post-fight interview. Now it was hard for me to hear it because it was loud, and I was in a fight arena.
Yeah.
As well, so it was hard for me to hear it. But like, it was something along the lines of like, like he's not a wrestler, he's not a striker, he's not a jiu-jitsu player, he's a mixed martial artist. Like he does it all, right? And he's definitely shown that in all of his fights. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's now 7-3. Right?
That's awesome.
That's a phenomenal record.
It really is.
That is a phenomenal record. And I think he's really found like a home in the 145-pound division. I remember when he was attempting to make his pro debut at 125.
Bro.
So, like, I'm a little bit on the outside on it, but, like, I'm, like, pretty sure the information got across correctly, but he was going to, like, make his pro debut in Erie on, like, one of those Bizarro cards against Brandon Burr at 125. And, like, I was just like, dude, this is insane. 25. Like, he's, like, I think he's a big 45er.
Yeah.
He's a nice size 45er. So I think him, like, accepting like that weight class made a big deal, and it allows him to fight on like full feed, so to speak, and train on full feed.
Exactly.
Right? Like I think if you're trying to like cut too much weight or live at a lower weight class, it's just gonna like that's what your life's about. And it's not about training. You know? So I think that really like nailed it in for him. He's got great coaching staff around him. Cool thing about him is like we get to see him progress because, we usually see him about once a week, Saturday sparring and stuff. And like, and he's like the leader of that generation that's right below mine,
Exactly.
And like what I was right after his fight, we were watching this fight, and I was just like looking around. It was Luke Martin, Britt, Andy Anderson, and Anth, and I was like, dude, I think Patton's the best fighter in Pittsburgh right now, right? But I want to take that back. I think he's the second best fighter in Pittsburgh right now. He's the best of that generation coming up, but man, I'm staying with Kama. I'm staying with Kama.
Repping the
Dude,
old school.
yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Right as like, here goes the problem. Kama's never gonna retire. He ain't never gonna really retire. But like, it reminds me of like that Lil Wayne lyric. He's like, "I'm the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired." And it was like a nod to Jay-Z
Right.
or whatever. And like, so Justin can say that when Kama retires because I'm running with my gen. I'm running with my generation. But yeah, dude, Justin G's just like so complete. 7-3 now. I mean, I got to imagine he's got to be clawing at that big show door. You know what I mean? It could happen now. It could happen after the next one. Maybe the next one after that. If you look at like, you know, like the way in, a lot of people are getting in on Dana White Contender Series. I haven't been too tuned into it, but I feel like the records that you typically see on there, Patton's like at that, like, you know, I mean, the Contender Series is probably like fairly booked for this season because I believe it begins in August. So maybe not this season's, but next season's. Maybe this season with a fallout or something.
Dude,
Excuse me, who knows? I mean, you figure if he has to wait, if he can't get this season and he knocks out 2 more fights, dude, at 9-3, like, you gotta think you're going,
dude, and especially like the big streak, you know, at that point, and then also like I mean, dude, I kind of hope that there's like one of those like late replacement type deals, and he's just like able to like showcase his skills in the UFC because like, dude, he's legit. He's super legit. And like one thing I'm really impressed with him because again, I get to see him pretty much every week, right?
Yeah.
Is like his ability to maintain focus during the whole round, right? So I feel like developmentally, most fighters, it's like, okay, you need to learn this and you need to learn to blend that with your defense and blah, blah, blah. And it's like a learning phase. And not that you don't stop learning stuff, but at a certain point, it starts to really get to be like, everyone's a good boxer. Everyone's a good this, everyone's good that, right? It's how much can you focus for the duration of a round, for the duration of a fight? And even in practice, I see him just like so dialed in. There's no lapses, you know what I mean? And like, I actually had a little lapse against him. I was sparring him, like, I don't know, however many years ago. He hit me with a teep. Oh, I'll tell you what, brother. He's not a 25er, dude.
Yeah.
That teep hurt. But, dude, he's just, like, so focused and dialed in. And, like, his striking's crisp, man. Like, Chris Williams is doing really good work with him. And, like, I'm very impressed with Patton. And, man, I think you're right. I think he's...
Dude, I just think he's big league.
He is.
I just think he's big league. I really hope he gets, you know, his shot at it. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. And then, you know, shout out to Kama for his win last night. Didn't get to watch it, but like, you know, true fighter, right? Like, was supposed to be an MMA fight. Something happened, opponent, something or other this week. Short notice, staying on the card, kickboxing match, which is like sick.
Dude, it's so perfect.
I want to watch Kama kickbox. Like,
yeah, because think about it, like Kama's like just like action, standing, right? And in MMA fights, someone takes Kama down. You're like, this sucks, man. Like, you know what I mean? And think about it, in MMA, you can.
I just don't want him slowed down.
Exactly, and even
right?
in Muay Thai,
I just want him to be able to sprint,
exactly,
get loose. Yeah,
yep. And even
so
in Muay Thai, like, you
that
can
like
catch kicks,
yeah,
you can clinch. Kickboxing takes that all away. It's just like no catching kicks, no elbows, no cuts that are gonna like, you know, oh, the doctor's got to come in. No. We just get to see Kama in action.
Yeah, like
that's
dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And also, dude, how cool is it, bro? He's from your generation,
bro. He won't stop. This dude's wild. Yeah, he's from my generation. Like, we're the same. We came up amateurs, pros, the whole thing.
The longevity
dude,
is just.
He's just running it, dude. He loves it. He loves it. You know, we spoke about like, you know, like you love winning or you love fighting. You know, dude, ain't no one love fighting more than Kama.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I tell you that.
Which also shout out to Shaka, dude. They're
oh my gosh,
both worthy
Hold
brothers.
On. We didn't even talk about Shaka on the 21.5.
Dude, what a body shot!
Holy oh my god, dude, it's so good, dude. Shaka just like looking so sharp, straight down the middle, just like a piston. Bop, bop. Like, oh my goodness, yeah, just a tremendous fight out of Shaka too. Like, shout out to him. Yeah, dude, I was real fired up. So that was the fight before Lucas. So you know, a little bit of like focusing back on Lucas, but like, peeling the curtain open, like watching. Dude, he just looked so good. Stopping takedowns, like stuffing them. Yeah, dude. Yeah, great fight, Shaka.
But to have like, you know, both brothers win on the same day, like, man, I love that.
Oh, dude, yeah, obviously, yeah, that's such a great thing, dude. Busy day. Speaking of busy day, while we're still on like 247 business, dude, on my drive here, I hit Hunter up. I'm like, dude, how tired are you? Bro, he was like at the venue at 8 a.m., left the venue at 1 a.m., got to go to bed at 3 a.m. because had to upload the replay to the site app / stuff, right? He's like, got up early, going through pictures now, plus weigh-in day the day before. I was like, dude, he was like, I'm whooped. Dude. All caps. I was like, yeah, bro.
Hunter's the man. And also think about this too. Like, if you texted me that and I was that tired, I might not get back to you. Right? You know what I mean? The fact that he's like so personable, he always like gets to you. You know what I mean? Like, just makes time for people.
Right.
Yeah, man. Hunter's. That's what we want.
I think it's cool to like. Yeah, I think it's cool to be like like, you know, like, let's not forget they're doing hard work too.
Yeah,
right?
man.
You know what I mean? Like, that's hard work, you know? Like, I see Andy do it for stout fights, dude. I've seen Andy lose years off his life with stress right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, dude.
Just the stress, dude, I saw him like get bad. It was like, oh my God, I'm like, Andy. It's like that movie where they're on the like a beach or an island or whatever, and like everybody ages super fast. It's like, Andy, you're gonna die. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Hunter and the 247 staff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great shows. All right, so let's jump to West Virginia.
Yeah.
All right, so before I get into some like Anth stuff, I do want to shout out the Jiu-Jitsu squad.
Yeah.
So New Line, they ran a prelim event at 4 p.m., which was you know, submission only grappling matches. They did, you know, submission only matches with EBI overtimes. What EBI overtime is if we're in overtime, like the match did not end in a submission, I can elect to start on Will's back or in an arm lock position known as spider web. And if he escapes that position, they record that time. If I submit him, they record that time. Then he gets his turn. And it's like, if we both escape, but I escaped faster, I win, and like so forth. And there can be multiple overtimes. Right. So I'm going to talk about 2 stout PGH jiu-jitsu competitors. We'll start with Andy Dwyer, Red. So he won his match. So I talked to him. So while we were getting there, they were leaving. So we're like crossing paths. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, dude. I was like, we win? He was like, yeah, I won. He was like 6 overtimes or something like something crazy. I'm like, all right, my man. And I was like, Isaiah Schaefer, he had already bounced. It was scoop. But they said he won rear naked choke in overtime. So he got the sub in overtime. So 2 wins there. My man Cody Gamble, Matt Factory competitor, was there. He won his match in regulation by head and arm triangle. No surprise. He's very high level grappler, beast. So like really great job there. I know my man Alex Hudick was there doing his lieutenantship. Just coaching everybody to great victories and great success. So shout out to the jiu-jitsu squad.
That's awesome.
Yep, it was awesome. So now we're going to jump in to, should we just jump right into Anthony's fight?
Yes, let's start there.
All right, let's start there. All right, so we're going Anthony's fight. So Anthony fights at 11:15 p.m. after supposed to be there at 4 p.m. They want you to sit in the back. What's the back like? Oh, it's gymnasium floor. Yeah, sit on this hardwood floor. Oh, you don't like that hardwood floor? Here goes some aluminum 2-story bleachers. Yeah, sit here for 7.5 hours until you fight. Right? Like, yeah, you need to be here at 4 p.m.
You got to put in a full work day of sitting on hard surfaces.
Dude, crazy. It was crazy. Luckily, we were able to slide out the back and we just went and sat in the car.
Yeah.
So that way we could sit in like seats. You know what I mean? Like, oh man. So there's that. He was fight 17 on a 19 fight card. That is too many fights.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
If that happened in Pennsylvania, they would shut that down.
Yeah.
Like, they would let the card go through.
Right.
Like, if it's already, they're not going to be like, we're canceling your fights, while you're there. But they'd be like, that's not happening again.
Yeah, they'll put a limit on it.
Fight limit on it.
Right.
Like, you know, something like that.
Or give you, like, check-in times, depending on, whatever.
Something reasonable.
Yes.
Something reasonable would happen, but they just want you there sitting in the back in West Virginia for 8 hours.
Shout out to the PA Commission.
Yeah, seriously. Dude, there was he wasn't even the last fight. He wasn't the main event. There were 2 fights after him.
That's ridiculous.
So those dudes, like, the main event probably went at like quarter to midnight. 4 p.m. report time. So yeah, that's that. So Anth, good warm up. Everything was going good. According to plan, goes out there. Basically, the fight was 23-second TKO. Comes out, checks kick, boop, boop, boop. Boom, right hand. Guy gets wobbled, rushes him, bang, bang, flying knee. Dude's dropped, rolls over. Anthony jumps on, like, kind of like a side, like a mount. The guy's kind of like, it's kind of like rear-ish turned. Like, the guy's kind of turned. So, like, giving up his back. Like a back mount.
Right, yeah.
Not back control, back mount. Clamps down, good positioning, turning the shoulders on the ground and pound. We'll talk about that. Turning the shoulders, gets the finish in 23 seconds. What a debut for him. Gotta feel good.
Yeah.
You know, the dog out there barking.
Yep.
Barking. He was a little puppy at weigh-ins, but he was a big dog come fight night. That was from him. We were like texting, like I'm like, how's the cut going, all that stuff. So we're in this like text group. He's like, I'm just a little puppy right now. Just a little puppy. Tomorrow I'll be a big hound dog. Dude. Luke Martin's like Rottweiler.
It's hilarious.
They're so they lean into the dog thing so much, and like we're like calling the cage the kennel, and like dude, like oh my god, it was like dude, it just was so like a good spirit and a good mood.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I loved like the dog stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, we just had a really great time. In the corner was myself, Luke Martin, and Brittany. I did most of the cornering, which was just me yelling, "Knock him out!" Dude, so let's
yo, is that a guy in the crowd yelling?
Bro, I know, right? I know. All right, let's do a quick comparison. So I cornered 2 fights yesterday, both professional fights, so that makes me feel cool, right? In one fight, if you just had like a camera on me watching me corner, like mic'd up, you'd be like, so let's go with Lucas, right? You'd be like, wow, that's a terrific corner.
Yeah.
This dude is intelligent, giving clear instruction.
Technical advice.
Technical advice. The instruction is making sense and it's making a difference.
Yes.
Great. That dude is a good coach. He is a good corner. Then you mic me up for Ant's fight. You're like, this dude's an idiot, dude. He's like, yeah, no, like, it's like, oh, punch. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All I said was, knock him out. Like, it was after. So after he, like the dude was wobbled, I was just like, knock him out. Oh, my God. And
That's
so, but he
hilarious.
listened.
He
So
did.
went and knocked
He
him
did.
out. It was great. And, like, what I really liked, I saw this killer in him, you know? Like right after he wobbled him, I just saw Anthony's face just like turn killer, and he came in there and he got the finish. And on that ground and pound, just turning those shoulders, throwing big shots, which is not as easy as you might think. So you see these guys in the UFC throwing these nasty ground and pound, and you're like, oh, that's just normal.
It's not intuitive.
It's not as intuitive as you think, because controlling the position is more intuitive, right? Because you need to feel like you're in control, because you don't want to fall off the position. So to like go back to my pro debut, comparing it to Anthony's pro debut. In my pro debut, I had my opponent, I had full back control, belly down, I had it flattened out, right? So I'm like arched up and I'm throwing heat. I'm crushing this dude. I'm talking to Chip. This Chip likes to talk about this sometimes at like you can talk to me while you're in there.
Right.
You know, let me know what's going on. I'm like, Chip, this is before he used to say that. I swear I'm the reason that he says this, because I would have for years, I just had that conversations mid-fight. I'm like, Chip, you gotta save him. He wants out. You gotta save him. And I think I'm whooping this dude. I'm like crushing him. Dude, I watched the video back. I was barely hitting this dude. I was pulling my hands back like 4 inches. So I was basically just like playing the drum, like
just arm punching.
But in my head, I'm throwing heat.
Your Fedor up there just dropping hammers.
But as I said, my fighter's standing on my shoulders, right? Don't go learn the same hard lessons I did. Like, make my career worth something.
Yeah.
You know? We work on that. We work on like, hey, like pull those shoulders back, you know? Just talking about Luke Martin, who was a cornerman with me there, just on Tuesday night. He had mount on somebody, and he's like doing the ground and pound, and like it's practice, so you're not like crushing your partner, right? But I'm like, dude, still pull the shoulders back,
build that pattern.
He's like, I think I'm gonna fall off, and I was like, yeah. I was like, that's the skill we're trying to build here. Yeah. It's you being able to like slap that ride on while pulling those shoulders back to throw the effective ground and pound,
right?
You know, not just those pitter patters that I threw whenever I thought I was throwing some heat. So yeah, because like it feels wild in there. Like when you're in there, it doesn't feel like it looks from the outside. It feels wild. Sometimes you think you're doing a lot more than you're doing. Sometimes it's the reverse.
Dude, it's
Sometimes you're like,
crazy.
oh, I did a lot better than I thought.
Even just like recalling fights from last night, I'm like, oh wait, did this happen or did this happen? And like, you forget orders of stuff. And then when you remember fights you've had, and then you go watch back, you're like, oh, I don't remember it that way, because like you're in the heat of the battle. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it's hard to remember sometimes.
It is hard to remember, but yeah, terrific fight. Post fight, Anth was the recipient of the first game towel. First time not that like I don't think anybody prior to this ever deserved it. It's just first time it kind of like popped into my head. So as I'm sure you guys, most of you know, I tuck the towel. Like that's my little signature thing. I'm in the corner, towel's rolled up around my neck, tucked in, the towel. He's the first game worn towel.
Well earned.
Now,
well deserved after
listen,
that long.
the game towel is not going out every game, right? You know what I mean?
It means something.
Like it means something. Okay, so like you might win your fight, you might finish. You know what I mean? That might not be game towel worthy. If you want to know what my criteria is for getting the game towel,
is it that you don't have to corner? You just get to yell knock him out.
Well, that's certainly. No, because I like corner. I know. Because people will compliment me, and I like it.
And that's game towel worthy.
I like that. I don't know what the criteria. It's a feel.
You'll know when you know.
It's a feel, and only I can feel it. So if you get that game towel, hang that on your wall.
Maybe it's that you have to wait for 8 hours before your fight.
Yeah, that's miserable. So let's jump in. Should we jump into some of that?
I mean, we could talk about like issues we've had with the commit. I might have to edit that out though, because
why?
I mean, I guess not. I mean, whatever. Let's just say it.
You think they're gonna like hold it against us? They can't.
I mean, that'd be highly unprofessional. Whatever. Let's just tell it.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna say the things that you guys did wrong, and then you're gonna be mad. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna treat us differently than other people?
All right, break it down. You're
gonna do that. You're gonna do that. You're gonna score against my fight. You're gonna illegally score against my fighters. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do?
All right, break it down.
All right, dude. So
this is
we're there.
Like 3 years ago.
This is pre-COVID. One of the so like it's at least 2019, somewhere around those times. So anyhow, what started this off is like we're there, and one of the people who work for the commission comes up to me and goes, "Oh, you're the drinker," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Yeah, at the casino, this one fight, you're the drinker," and I was like, "No, I'm the guy who saved the show." And I just walked away because I was so mad. So what happened?
Wait, that's just like so factually not true what he said.
Yeah, so I was just super irritated. So what happened was though, but what he was referring to was we were at some fights at the Mountaineer Casino in West Virginia, and it was dude, I swear it had to be like one of the first MMA shows like in West Virginia that was like sanctioned. Right. So we're down there and we're cornering. It's me, you, and Jonas cornering, and we were cornering. Me and Jonas are cornering Alan, and then me and you are cornering Mason. All right, so we got Alan, the Chinese Disappointment Lou, and then Mason DeLes. We went 2-0 on that night. Shout out to both of those guys. But Alan's up first, so me and Jonas are in the corner. Mid-fight, mid-first round, we get pulled out of the corner and sent to the back because we don't have cornerman bands on.
Yeah.
Because we don't have cornerman licenses. And cornerman licensing is a very common practice, right? I've been licensed as a second, which is what a cornerman is, since in some state here or there, since I think I cornered my first time in fact, I know when I cornered my first time, May of 2008.
Okay, so it's been quite some time.
Yeah. We're talking.
And hold on.
So I've been licensed in every year since 2008, and it is 2024.
And let's talk real quick about what that process is like. Like if you're in PA and you show up,
the process is slightly different in different places.
Right, but it's usually something along the lines.
Like in Ohio, you show up to the fight, you fill out a form, you pay your money, they take a picture.
Yep.
In PA, they already know who's in the corner. They have the form ready for you. Right. You just go. You fit like your name's already written on it,
and they call for you. They're like, "Hey, is Johnson here?" You
right.
know what I mean?
Or like if you're in Ohio, like it's like, "All right, corners, we're doing licensing, blah blah blah," and it's like very common practice. And everywhere I've ever been,
organized.
Some places you send it in beforehand. Like I think, did we have to do that? No.
I think West Virginia does that now.
When we cornered, West Virginia does that now. When we cornered LFA in February.
Oh yeah.
Right. It was up in the Seneca Nation, so we did it there, just as you do it in Ohio, and like similar to PA, right? Like they had our names down, but we had to write our names. And the only thing, PA writes your name in for you. So we
either way, no matter where you go, it's organized.
It's
and
the
there's
same
a process.
There's a process, right? So this is West Virginia's like one of their first like sanctioned shows or whatever. So I just think they don't have their ducks in a row. They never like do corner licensing, and we're like, maybe you don't have to be licensed in a corner here.
Also, it's one of those things you forget about. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. So we're back. So we get pulled out, and I'm making a stink of it, dude. I'm like, you got this freaking kid in here by himself. Now Alan comes to the corner in between rounds.
No
Where's
one
my
there.
corner? No water, no ice, no advice. You know what I mean?
Plus,
I'm like,
mind elsewhere.
yeah, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, and this dude's making it all about himself. And there's this like younger inspector who wants to get like tough with me. He's about to get whooped.
Yeah, wrong one, dude.
Yeah, wrong
And
one.
all the
And
times
he
that-
was a huge jerk. But I guess they said that I was like some drunk guy, so the police come running back to kick me out. They run right past me because I'm not some drunk guy. Couldn't be him, right? I'm like, oh hey guys, it's me. They come over.
You had
and
to
they-
stop the cop.
I actually like
They were
grabbed one.
running
I was like, yo,
past
I was
you.
like, that's me, it's me. And they were like, what? And then like they immediately just like got super. I remember they just got super. Like they went from like
ready to break something up.
to like
Oh, huh.
like you know how they do that like
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
grab
Like football players.
yeah, like, huh, okay. And like they're listening. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this dude, he's a fucking dick. But anyhow, they didn't give us an opportunity to get licensed. So like, blah, 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 and they're pulling us out of the corner, and like the police don't know, like,
Yeah, they do.
whatever that is. And he's like, yeah, we did, da, da, da. And then all of a sudden, they're like, da, da, like, you can't be in the corner unless you're licensed. And all of a sudden, a bunch of coaches are like, you didn't do that.
Yep.
You didn't do that. And they're like, you're not going to let us in the corner? All right, we're off, right? And then all of a sudden, all these fights, and we were early on the card, all these fights start falling off the card. They're all like, we're not doing it, we're not fighting, we're not fighting. Dude, so they stop the show, they come back, they let everybody get licensed.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, dude, I saved the show.
Yeah.
That was me, right? Like also like, or West Virginia could have just been like, oh no, we didn't do it, and just like ignored the bans for the
Right.
corners, right? And then been out $20 a person or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, man, we took an L on like, I don't know, like $400 today because we messed up. But they came back, they let everybody get licensed, but that didn't take Alan's experience away.
Nope.
He had to fight cornerless, you know, which is a cool story now. For
Yeah,
him.
and he did win, so like it's cool.
But what pisses me off is like, oh, I legit saved the day.
Yeah, and then for them to be
And
like,
then I'm remembered. Now this is like, so this is pre-COVID, so this is at least 5 years ago.
right.
Right? So at least, oh, you're the drunk guy. Like, no, dude. I'm the one who realized you guys didn't have your ducks in a row, which is okay. Like, you were like brand new.
Yeah.
You were like brand new. That's
okay
okay.
to make mistakes.
That's okay. You make mistakes. You made it very aggressively towards me, which is dangerous. But,
Yeah.
but like, you know what I mean? I kept it cool. I kept the composure, and I saved the show.
Dude, and also like that's just super. First
And then
of all,
that's just how it's remembered.
let's say they were
Get out
right.
of
Let's say that you were drunk and like belligerent and whatever.
Yeah.
And then you came back and you were professional this time. That'd be unbelievably unprofessional of them to just be like, oh, you're the drunk guy. You know what I mean? And what makes it even worse is it's not true.
Yeah, it's just not
And
true.
for them to remember you like that, I'm not happy with that commission.
No, dude. And I'm not worried about it because, I mean, they could just be unethical and, like, hold it against us. But
Sounds like a them issue.
sounds like a them issue. So I would like to shout out every other athletic commission that I've ever worked with.
Yeah, dude. Especially the PA
I'm very,
commission. We
I'm
work
very
with them a lot.
thankful to be here working with those guys. But yeah, shoot, I feel like that was a pretty good wrap up, you know, on the events. Man, what a day. What a busy, busy day. Something that I think is cool is like I'm always going to get to say that I cornered 2 pro fights in the same day in 2 different states.
That is really cool.
You know, yeah. I mean, like, what are the odds that you have a fight show in like that in the morning?
Yeah.
To where you can go somewhere else. So that's a cool little stat, and I'm a stat guy like that. You know, a lot of our friends had great performances, a lot of dubs on the day. Things are looking good. People are happy today. And, you know, that closes out the first half of 2024. Right
Been
on.
a good half.
Cool. You got anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so.
About summed it up. All right, cool. That was another riveting episode of Listen to Your Coaches, and we will catch you next time.